Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the pay-per-view wrestling podcast, starting with Mark Flores' wrestling analysis. Thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the pay-per-view podcast. March 10th, 2016, I want to wish everyone out there a happy 316. The March 2016 does give us the 316 that we've all been waiting for. This pay-per-view podcast is brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade your retro video games and the current gen consoles as well. Xbox One, PlayStation 4. You can hit them up on Instagram at Game Swappers. That's GAMESWAPPERS. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade. Okay, guys, here we go with some injury updates. We got Seth Rollins is actually in the ring training now without a knee brace. As you guys all know, he did suffer an ACL injury going over to the overseas tour during a live event. It was pretty gruesome, but this is now month 4 out of the 9-month timetable that they gave us. So Seth Rollins is, of course, not going to be available for WrestleMania, but nonetheless, that does give you guys an update that he might be able to show up soon enough anyway. As you know, an ACL injury does take a long time. Usually with basketball or with any big-time sports injury, you're dealing with about a 6-month return to 12 months. People like to nurse these kind of injuries. And with Seth Rollins, it's no different. It should be no different. He should take care of it because his spots and the way he wrestles, there's a big necessity for him to actually take care of this and prolong the healing process as long as possible. It's unfortunate that we have him injured before WrestleMania season started. As you may know, that he last year was able to cash in at Money in the Bank during the Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns match, and he was able to steal the WrestleMania show. A good idea would be for WWE and Seth to take this situation very, very seriously. A guy that he's a star that they've invested into a lot, and he is going to be a megastar in the years to come. It's very apparent. You could tell that the WWE is very invested into this gentleman. We need him to come back when he's ready, and not when he's recovered early, not when he comes back early. We don't need him coming back early from this kind of injury. ACL injuries are really no joke when it comes to that kind of situation there. But as far as what Wednesday had us taken care of on the the WWE Network, we had the NXT number 1 contender match for the NXT Championship, Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn. The match I saw was, it was very good. It was a very good match. There's great chemistry between the two. You could tell that they do live events from time to time because the situation that they had, the type of build up towards this match was really good. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match, so it was just another great emotional presentation on Sami Zayn's behalf. There was actually one moment that scared a lot of people, including myself, where Samoa Joe actually gave Sami Zayn a belly-to-belly suplex in the middle of the ring, but it looked like Sami Zayn wasn't going to turn out of it. And what I mean by that is after Samoa Joe flipped him, Sami Zayn just had a very millisecond, like a very small opportunity to actually turn his neck over to actually not have his neck injured. Samoa Joe has a bad reputation right now where he's actually getting a lot of people injured. As you know, Tyson Kidd's career may not, he may have to retire because of the Samoa Joe's signature move. When Samoa Joe put his signature move on him, it was actually botched, and Tyson Kidd actually landed all his weight on his neck, and he had to do the same surgeries. The same surgery that Peyton Manning actually had to do. And with that type of situation, there's very small chance that you're actually able to complete, to do your athletic career as normal. Neck injuries are really a red flag when it comes to WWE. It's almost up to the same level as concussions would be. WWE necessarily, they don't really play with that type of situation. And as they shouldn't, because fans across any which platform do not want to see any player die in the ring or any entertainer die in the ring. It won't do good for anybody, because then you have to deal with editing You have to dealing with the live situation with the broadcast team. It just brings a burden on everyone, including, the people and the family affected by the person that's now no longer with us in the middle of the ring. WWE is doing their best job to prevent stuff like that from happening. Certain moves are not allowed anymore, as you may know. So as long as WWE is doing their part on that, and as long as entertainers like Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn are being extremely careful when working in the ring, then it shouldn't be a problem either way. But that was just something to note. If you look back at that match, you'll be able to see it. As I saw it, I had to rewind it a couple times to actually, hold in and to actually see what I saw. It was pretty scary. It was a bunch of big spots, and most of them were done to perfection. I think both of those guys worked really well together. So for Samoa Joe's size, he actually moves really well in the ring, and not a lot of people can give him credit for that, but he's able to put on long matches. I do appreciate his work ethic because he's not slow in the ring. For a man his size to move and try to keep up with Sammy is really impressive. But out of the 2 of the 3 falls, Samoa Joe ended up taking the victory. If Sami Zayn, let me put it this way. The way this is all going to play out is Samoa Joe might get the title at the takeover event in Dallas, available exclusively on the WWE Network. What's going to end up happening is that Samoa Joe's going to end up taking the NXT title. Then that leaves the availability of Finn Balor to move up the ranks because now he's relinquished the title to someone else within NXT. What this does now is that Sami Zayn losing the number 1 contendership leaves him available to do whatever he needs to do, i.e. start a feud with Kevin Owens. That's what it is. That sounds perfect to me because they do have a past even beyond NXT, even beyond WWE. So that's going to be good to see because we want to see, the Kevin Steen and El Generico actually go at it. As you guys may or may not know, is that Kevin Owens was Kevin Steen back in Ring of Honor, and so Sami Zayn was El Generico, a masked luchador called El Generico. That's why you hear all these chants of Ole, Ole, Ole. That's why you hear the Ole chants in the backgrounds while he's doing his matches sometimes, because that is a reference to his old character. If Sami Zayn didn't get injured during the John Cena Open Challenge, he would have already been on the main roster. He would have actually probably had a spot on the WrestleMania title card if he doesn't already. That is still up in the air. I don't know whether or not they're going to have the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn feud leading up to WrestleMania. Who knows? But it looks like it's in the cards for that to happen. If Sami Zayn didn't get injured there, he would have already had a feud for the Intercontinental title. And the sad thing is that they could have helped bring up Tyler Breeze because Tyler Breeze is cut from the same cloth. He's an NXT worker. He was in the development for the longest time. He was in there, I remember, for almost about 3 years. And Tyler Breeze would have benefited from the feud if Sami Zayn came up and actually stayed consistent, injury-free throughout this time. Because what that would leave us is that would have the younger guys elevating themselves as talent that can hold their own without someone that's an aged veteran bringing them over. You wouldn't need your Y2Js bringing people over. You wouldn't need your Big Shows bringing people over because that's what they do nowadays. That's what the Big Show's crafted for, and that's what Y2J is crafted for. Just putting the older talent over. That's how it's always, that's how the old school always worked. They're always in favor of putting younger talent over because when they were younger, they had older talent at their time putting them over as well. I would imagine that they would have used all 3 of those guys in a fatal 3-way type of situation for the Intercontinental title. That would have lifted up Tyler Breeze's potential. What they ended up doing with Tyler Breeze's character is that they put him in a meaningless feud with Dolph Ziggler, and that really just didn't work out because you had so many botched things. You had Lana letting people know that she was married to Rusev through actual TMZ. So that broke the kayfabe there. That broke the storyline there. So that was complete BS. But the way that this could have went is that Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens would have the Intercontinental title. Then Sami Zayn would come along, and then Tyler Breeze would come in the mix too, and all three of those guys would have just done nothing but elevate their own stock within WWE, and that would have got a lot more notoriety, because the downfall of Tyler Breeze's thing, now he's just a jobber, is that Dolph Ziggler isn't really something you put up, he works well in the ring, but what everyone sees is that Dolph Ziggler, his inconsistencies as far as creative goes, that doesn't hold a candle as far as validity. And what I mean by that is that if you have a feud with Dolph Ziggler, who knows which way it's going to go, because maybe Dolph Ziggler was on a hot streak when he started the feud with you, and then you end up going over on him. But after that, what if Dolph Ziggler just had a series of consecutive losses, starts a feud with you, and then you go over on him, and everyone's just like, wait, well, Dolph Ziggler loses again, and who's this guy? Add to the fact that Tyler Breeze's image, I don't think fits modern day. I already went through over that, but the narcissistic character who dresses real flamboyantly like that doesn't really bode well in today's day and age as far as wrestling gimmicks go. But other than that, I thought Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn, that match is going to open doors for everyone else leading up to TakeOver Dallas, leading up to WrestleMania. That opens the door for Finn Balor to actually do his thing within WrestleMania, or even to start the Bullet Club, Bulletproof, what have you. Maybe gets availability for that. So what I have next is I have the WWE Roadblock match card. From what I have now, as far as updates, as far as March 10th, which is today, I have Triple H versus Dean Ambrose for the WWE Championship. I have Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt, and then Roman Reigns versus Sheamus, and then the NXT tag match, Enzo and Cass versus the Revival. All four of these matches are going to be really good. There's no bad way to say this. There's no bad thing to say about this except the Roman Reigns Sheamus situation. I would imagine Roman Reigns gets a run-in from the League of Nations, Superman punches them all, and then they just build his image up to WrestleMania. That's what they're going to do, because we all know that Triple H is going to be the one holding the title at the end of this night. Then you have Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt. They have no other choice at this time to do nothing but put, Brock Lesnar has to beat Bray Wyatt in spectacular fashion. They have to build the Beast image again for this WrestleMania, because with a diminished roster such as the one we have now, there's no other way to build this WrestleMania, because you have no other stars to fill in these gaps here. So Brock Lesnar is probably going to go over on Bray Wyatt. So I have Roman Reigns winning over Sheamus. That's just a given. The Enzo and Cass and the Revival match. We all know that the Revival are the championship holders. So what I imagine is Enzo and Cass are going to do, they're going to end up losing, but they're probably going to debut on the next Raw following WrestleMania. That's something that might be apparent. It's being talked around in a bunch of circles. A bunch of sources that I've read tell me that this is almost going to happen to a certainty. So hopefully that does happen. I do want to see Enzo and Cass on the main stage. I do want to see both them and the New Day go out of feud together, because as far as mic skills go within tag team, in the tag team world, the New Day, no one else holds a candle next to the New Day besides Enzo and Cass. That's the only people I see. I mean, Enzo and Cass have infectious personalities, and then you bring in their manager, unless Carmella decides to stay doing her roster situation down with NXT still. But to be brought up as a manager on the main stage will be beneficial for her, because then she could still wrestle within the main roster as well, and that helps everyone out at the end. So what else I have here? I have Sami Zayn, the New Day, Sheamus, and King Bear are scheduled to appear, but as we don't have much time for this to develop because, it's in the next coming weeks. So we got to see what happens as far as title cards. I mean, as far as match cards there go. Hopefully something comes up for all of those guys because, they are scheduled to appear. So hopefully, a good match develops between those guys. Not all together anyway, but as a couple singles matches here. The WWE Roadblock is going to be the last stop as far as storyline developments before WrestleMania starts. So let's just hope that everyone goes through this, very well. There's no injuries because at this point, WWE can't deal with injuries right now. It's highly unlikely anything's going to change. I mean, in context of the main event, it's highly unlikely that anything's going to change at the main event of WrestleMania. Unless they decide to throw a curveball at everyone else and, creative changes something last minute. But, this is pending Triple H's tremendous ego. This is pending the McMahon, creative control. This is all pending, Triple H and them collectively seeing whether or not they want to have Dean Ambrose win at Roadblock, carry that title, and, do another match at WrestleMania. Maybe possibly a fatal 3-way match between Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Triple H. That does seem likely because, as we saw before, Dean Ambrose has, performed his finisher on Roman Reigns. So that doesn't eliminate that out of the realm of possibility between the two. And then you throw Triple H in the mix to, the old veterans putting people over. But hopefully that comes to fruition. But a majority of the people, including myself, don't see Dean Ambrose walking out with the WWE title. I don't think so. I personally don't think that creative is fully invested into Dean Ambrose. Yeah, they are putting him at the main, roster, but this is at the expense of not having Seth Rollins be there. Dean Ambrose is the fill-in for Seth Rollins, and that is very apparent. You don't need Sherlock Holmes to find that out. It's very apparent. If Dean wins it, they may be able to upgrade the main event, like I was telling you, to the fatal 3-way match. That isn't bad at all. For the next, but the only thing that I've heard to counter that, and I wanted to let you know as I was building this across, is that the next live event after Roadblock, Dean is involved in an Intercontinental Fatal 3-Way against Kevin Owens and an opponent yet to be named. But so that kind of throws that out of the window. That's the only unfortunate thing, is that now you have Dean Ambrose advertised on actual billings, on roster, on match card billings to be going up against Kevin Owens for the Intercontinental title. And what is this? This is another. I think this is another misstep as far as WWE goes, because now you have Dean Ambrose who is advertised to defend, to go against Triple H for the WWE title, but then you have the next live event, you have him going against Kevin Owens and another person yet to be named for the Intercontinental title in a fatal 3-way. How does that literally tells you that he's not going to win it? Because he's advertised to defend, to go against Kevin Owens for another title. This takes Dean Ambrose's stock a little low. It takes it down because now you're dealing with him a week ago going to defend the heavyweight, going up to face Triple H to try to win the heavyweight championship. A week later, now he's going to go to the lower tier championship. Not saying that the Intercontinental title isn't something to behold, but to go to point A then to B, that's not really a smart move, in my opinion, anyway. You know what? And it's funny too that I bring this up in the air, but you need to have at least one babyface that's over with the crowd for this main event. Having a fatal 3-way at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose and Triple H, it would do nothing but help out the crowd. Because now we have someone at least cheering for Dean Ambrose, and everyone's gonna, it's gonna go like this. Dean, without Dean Ambrose in the mix, it's going to go like this. Triple H comes out, does his intro. Everyone's going to go nuts because he puts on a big spectacle for himself. That's how he does it every WrestleMania. And then Roman Reigns comes out of the audience. Kids are going to fist bump him. He's going to get a bunch of boos, and that's how it's going to go. Roman Reigns isn't over with the only demographic Roman Reigns is over with is children who buy his merchandise, and the women that, the ladies that come in to see them with their kids. That's what it is. That's all who I hear cheer for him at live events. There's a bunch of, of course there's a couple of people here and there that, fit outside of those demographics, but that's just a main, perception of what I see. That's just the main thing I see. As for because I've been to live events where I've seen it, dead as a doornail when Roman Reigns comes out. So that's, I can actually have validity to that statement because I've seen it. Anyway, after all that, I wish the best for, Dean Ambrose at Roadblock, and I hope that, Triple H at least stays injury free leading up to WrestleMania, so he can put on a good match. Despite him being 46 years old, he could still put on a good match. But now let's go on to Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt and the issues that I have with that situation. This match was supposed to be for WrestleMania, but now it's been regulated for the pay-per-view before it. That really goes to show you that WWE Creative doesn't trust the Bray versus Brock dynamic. They don't trust it enough to be captivating enough, for the showcase of the Immortals. They don't trust it enough to be the big event at WrestleMania. We all know that Brock Lesnar by himself can put butts in the seats, but this is going to show the audience, or this is going to show all the marks out there in the audience that they're not really fully invested into Bray Wyatt as a main contender. This is now going to, if this all plays out, who knows? This is still pending. The subject, the card is subject to change sometimes. So, if it gets finalized at Roadblock, then you'll be able to see that this isn't going to be the second wasted year for Bray Wyatt, because he's going to have to lose to Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar needs to build up his image for WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar barely takes losses, and that's all good for him because he is the beast. He is this guy who is a formidable opponent for anybody, and that just goes to show you that not a lot of people are, fully invested into Bray Wyatt. But the thing about Bray Wyatt to bring out to people is for people who do not know who Bray Wyatt is, this guy is the son of IRS. He was formerly Husky Harris out of the Nexus, but this guy has so much charisma with his character of Bray Wyatt. This guy has so much charisma when he cuts promos. It's to the point where you actually believe that he's actually this cult leader leading these guys, around the way and, leading them to this promised land that he has, has delivered, on the numerous sermons that he's delivered. Bray winning consecutive matches and going on a hot streak is really going to elevate his stock, because after that, people will believe in him. I honestly can give you a 100% surefire bet that if Bray Wyatt goes on this tremendous hot streak and actually becomes a little more fearful than what WWE TV PG can give you, if he can get a little more over the top, if Creative Control can actually build this storyline where it's a little more creepier than he's actually doing, I'm telling you, it will be hot. Everyone's going to go crazy for it. He'll get heat as a heel. He works better as a heel anyway because everyone is going to be against his ideals every time he cuts a promo. But the way his characters develop, he's going to have to take over the throne of being the feared man. He's going to be, like I said, he's going to have to be the face of fear once The Undertaker leaves and retires. Because as you see now, there's no one else that can replace him. Kane is around the same age as The Undertaker, so that eliminates that. The next guy that you see going into, a psychotic rampage or being, in tune with the paranormal like The Undertaker is Bray Wyatt. So he's going to have to take that throne, but that's until Undertaker decides to hang it up, because as of right now, there's only one face of fear, and that's The Undertaker. There's only one guy that people are going to be tuning into over Bray Wyatt, and that's The Undertaker. But until then, we're going to have to play the waiting game, and I don't know whether or not it's going to be until creative decides to build this guy up to be, the new face of fear, or even if Bray Wyatt just decides on his own to leave. That's how it is. I mean, but they are protecting him at some points, but he does have to lose here and there, and that just never makes sense to me. What I've been hearing around the way is that the main event may be Undertaker and Shane McMahon instead of Triple H versus Roman Reigns. And that's good, because to have WrestleMania end predictably or, repetitively, like how it was last year where Roman Reigns was involved in the main event, that's just going to bring people, that's going to be in tune to their subconscious to be like, oh wait, this is how it was last year. The little changes are going to make a difference in that situation. So I really hope that they do go through with it and have Undertaker versus Shane McMahon in the Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. Word on the street is that it actually sold 84,000 tickets already, but that doesn't, that leaves 16,000 seats available, because as we all know, is that Dallas Stadium, where the Cowboys play, is a 100,000 seat arena, and that's including the freestanding area. So if they allow freestanding admission tickets, they can make a lot more money. They can have a lot more butts in those seats. But a lot of people won't know is that WWE likes, juicing up their figures over at they like juicing up attendance figures from here and there. So we'll just have to wait and see till then. But we all have to see what happens, because I'm more curious to see how this WrestleMania will play out due to the diminished roster. I'm more concerned about how WWE is going to put on more of a spectacle than actual matches, because at this time, we see it. It's in the air. The proof is in the pudding with this situation, because now John Cena's out. Seth Rollins is out. There's not a lot of people that are going to be filling in these match cards. So what are we going to have to do? We're going to have to bring part-timers. We're going to have to bring Shawn Michaels. We're going to have to bring The Rock. We're going to have to bring Hulk Hogan. We might have to bring Hulk Hogan. That's how it's going to be. And in order for us to do this, we need to advertise a bunch of people. But the way Hulk Hogan's, in the limelight right now with the sex tape scandal that he's doing in his lawsuit. So I think that's highly unlikely. Maybe within the coming weeks of WrestleMania, maybe they bill him up there, but it's all a matter of time before we see it. But so back to the point is that a diminished roster basically tells us that now they're going to have to put on more of a spectacle instead of having a dense match card, because that's how every WrestleMania plays out. It's either you have you have fewer matches than the previous year, but then you have more skits, you have more show, you have more pizzazz, more live performances. Or if you have a roster card that's really, really booked, you'll have very few cameos. You'll maybe have you'll have a former WWE superstar as a special guest. There's going to be things like that instead. So now this, where the cards turn is that you have a diminished roster. So now they're going to have to put on more of a spectacle. I've heard that New Day is in talks to actually do this, to come riding in on a unicorn, which I think would be pretty good. But I don't know how the zipline situation is going to work out at a Cowboy Stadium. It is a big stadium. I've been there myself. It is a wonder to behold, the modern day Roman Coliseum, as I tell people. So 100,000 seat arena, and they only got 84,000 seats leading up to April. That does show promise. That is almost up to, that's well over 70% capacity. So that is a good sign. But let's take this up to capacity and instead make it more of a spectacle than an actual full-on wrestling match pay-per-view. That's what they're gonna have to do. And that's all I have for the show today. Please be sure to tune into the other shows I have. I do have Retro Collecting 101 coming up on Friday, and Saturday I'm going to have the Mark and Andre show. It's either it happens Friday live or it happens on a tape delay on Saturday. But anyway, I want to let you know that this pay-per-review podcast is brought to you by Game Swappers. Game Swappers, buy, sell, and trade your retro games and your next-gen consoles. That's PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. You can catch them on Instagram at GAMESWAPPERS. That's Game Swappers, GAMESWAPPERS. Guys, I want to thank you for tuning in. To all the live listeners, I definitely give you guys props and shout outs, but please be aware that I'm going to have 2 other shows going on in the next couple of days. I'm going to have the Retro Collecting 101, and I'm going to have the Mark and Andre show. So be sure to tune in with that. But other than that, stay tuned, wrestling fans. Mark Flores is out.